So now we are ready for the one and only Bill Olet. Bill, how are you?
Good to see you. You have a good weekend?
Oh yeah. How was basketball this morning?
It's just what old guys do. But I did win 2 games more than I lost, so I like that. But you did a jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend. That's incredible.
It was unbelievable. It was just, man, it's so great to compete because it pushes you to your limit.
Yeah.
And you understand what your weaknesses are and what you need to work on. I feel so uplifted now, even though I'm sore as hell, to be honest.
Beautiful. Boom. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
No boxing in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, it's not the same thing. Well, you know, I never did either.
But
we got a serious topic here today.
we do. LTV and COCA, lifetime value of the customer, cost of customer acquisition, basically unit economics. Can you please provide your definitions of the two, why they're so important, and how they're connected?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, now we're getting into the fundamental math. You know, like in the world, there are laws of physics that you can't defy. In business, that's what we're talking about here. Your lifetime value is the total profits you're going to get from that customer, and we're going to bring that back in today's dollars. And then we're going to talk about how much does it cost to acquire that customer. So if it costs us $1,000 to get if a customer is worth $1,000 to us, that's their LTV. That's all the profit we're going to get from them. So is that good or not good? Well, that depends on how much it costs to acquire the customer. If it costs us $10,000, that's terrible.
Bad business.
Yeah, but if it costs us $10, that's a great business, right? So we're going to make estimates now as to what those things are. And we don't know them exactly. You know, of course we don't know them exactly. But we can make intelligent guesses about what they're going to be to see if they're in the right magnitude. Because, you know, there's a famous, you know him, David Scott. He's a venture capitalist here in Boston and writes on a blog called For Entrepreneurs. Love it. And he talks about what I call Scott's Law. And it says your LTV better be at least three times your COCA, or you don't have a business.
And why 3 times, not 2 times, 5 times, 10 times?
Well, at least. It's better if it's more than 3.
Yeah.
But because when we're going to talk about the total profits from the product, we're just talking about the profits, and we're only offsetting this marketing and sales costs.
Yeah.
Guess what? In the business, there's a bunch of other costs that we have to do, including R&D and overhead things.
Yeah.
So if it's at least 3 times, then we know it's profitable enough on a unit economics. That's why we call it unit economics. On an individual single product level, that we can spit off profit to pay for these other things. But if it's something where there's a lot of R&D, like a new drug design, well, that 3 to 1 isn't going to be enough.
Sure.
But generally, we talk about at least 3 to 1 in our classes, and that gets people thinking about it and understanding. Hey, we need to understand at a unit level, at a single product level, are we making money or not? And I want to warn the audience, there's going to be some math in this, but we're going to simplify it down. If you understand that fundamental concept, the lifetime value, LTV, it's got to be, that's all the profit that comes in, it's got to be at least 3 times what the cost of customer acquisition, the COCA or COCA, or some people refer to it as CAC, customer acquisition cost. That has to be much more. That's what you really need to know. And we're going to come back to that, but now we're going to break it down and get into some of the actual calculations here so that you can test out your startup.
But to be clear, what seems to be very important is that LTV and COCA are intricately connected.
Yeah.
You don't know if your LTV is great if you don't know your COCA, and if you don't know much about your COCA if you don't understand the LTV.
That's absolutely right. And in our class here, you know, that's in the lecture, it's, all right, my LTV is $10,000. Is that good or not good? And, you know, these introductory entrepreneurs, and they say, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, I say, why is that great? And they say, because it's $10,000 in profit. I can make money off that.
Yeah.
What if I told you at IBM, my customer LTV was $10,000? I'd get killed for that because our cost of customer acquisition was so high. We had direct salespeople. We had all these other costs.
Right.
So the two are intricately linked, as you just said.
Well, today we are going to attack LTV one by one, the first part. But before we do that, I want to take some initial skepticism out of the way. And the skepticism would be, look, doing LTV is projecting into the future, and no one understands the future. So how can you do LTV in a reliable way if you don't know how many times your customer will buy the product?
Yeah, yeah. And you don't know exactly what your price is, because remember in the previous step, we're just estimating prices,
so
and that's going to be input.
The basic question is, what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? We don't know. Well, let me address that one head on, because this comes up. I can tell you with 100% certainty that your LTV calculation down to 4 decimal places will not be correct. It won't be correct down to 2 decimal places. It won't be correct to 1 decimal place. It won't even be correct to tens, hopefully tens of dollars. But it will be in the ballpark, and you're going to understand what's driving it and what's not driving it. And likewise with your COCA. And now you'll be able to start figuring out where are the leverage points. What do I need? Can I afford a direct sales force, or can I not afford a direct sales force?
Yeah.
Am I in the right ballpark? So while a precise tool, it's not going to give you the correct answer. But as a planning tool, it will give you something that's extremely valuable. And that's the point here. It's not whether it's correct, it's whether it's useful. And in this case, doing this calculation, I can assure you, has been useful to almost every single one of my entrepreneurs.
Well, let's break it down.
Okay, well, you know we have frameworks for this. So let's take a look at the underlying logic and math behind lifetime value of a customer.